Alright guys, today you are going to learn about sum and difference formulas from section 5.4. And since I'm not going to be here, we're going to do it via recording. If you need to stop for any reason and ask questions of the sub or of your classmates, then just do that. Just pause the recording and then answer those questions. And there's 6 different sum and difference formulas that we need to know. 2 for sine, 2 for cosine, and 2 for tangent. Alright, so if we look at just our sine formula, sine of u plus v, the sum of sine, equals sine of u times cosine of v plus cosine of u times sine of v. That's what that says. If I look at my difference formula for sine, sine of u minus v, that is sine of u times cosine of v minus cosine of u times sine of v. So very similar, except instead of adding, you're subtracting. It is the same thing for cosine, where they're very similar. So our sum product for cosine, so cosine of u plus v, is cosine of u cosine of v minus sine of u sine of v. So when you're doing cosine, if you're doing a sum formula, you're actually subtracting. And then for our difference formula for cosine, cosine of u minus v equals cosine of u cosine of v plus sine of u sine of v. So if you're doing a difference formula for cosine, you're actually adding. Okay, I'm going to scroll down a little bit so that you guys can see your tangent formulas, because there are 2 tangent formulas as well. Alright, so your tangent formulas. For your sum of your tangent, for tangent of u plus v, we get tangent of u plus tangent of v, all divided by 1 minus tangent of v. Okay, and then for tangent of u minus v, is tangent of u minus tangent of v, all over 1 plus tangent of u tangent of v. So we're going to cut this down. We're going to move on. If not, just pause the video so you can finish. So if I look at example 1a, I'm told to find sine of pi over 12. And I know that pi over 12 is the difference of pi over 3 minus pi over 4. So since I'm finding sine and I'm finding a difference, I'm going to use my difference formula. So sine of pi over 3 minus pi over 4. Okay, my difference formula for sine tells me that sine of u, which is my first value, so sine of pi over 3, times cosine of my second value, so cosine of pi over 4, minus my sine of my second value which is pi over 4 times cosine of my first value, which is pi over 3. I actually think that it's more correct than cosine sine, but it doesn't matter. Okay, so then we're going to use our unit circle to evaluate these. Alright, so the first value that I'm looking for is sine of pi over 3. Sine refers to your x value, your y values. So if we're looking for pi over 3, if I go to pi over 3, my sine value is square root of 3 over 2. So sine of pi over 3 is square root of 3 over 2 times my cosine value at pi over 4. So if I go back to my unit circle at pi over 4, I get cosine value of square root of 2 over 2. So times the square root of 2 over 2 minus my sine value at pi over 4, and my sine value at pi over 4 is square root of 2 over 2, times my cosine value at pi over 3, and my cosine value at pi over 3 is 1/2. So if I then multiply these things through, square root of 3 times square root of 2 is 6. Okay, because the square roots then cancel, and 3 times 2 is 6. 2 times 2 is 4. Square root of 2 times 1 stays square root of 2, and 2 times 2 is 4. As we have common denominators, we can squish those fractions together. So we'd end up with 6 minus the square root of 2 over 4. And you can leave it like that because the square root of 2 is an irrational number. Okay, if I look at example 1b, cosine of pi over 12, well, we know that pi over 12 is the same thing as pi over 3 minus pi over 4. So we're looking for the cosine of pi over 3 minus pi over 4, which tells me that I'm looking for my difference formula of cosine. And my difference formula of cosine tells me that I take cosine of my first value, which is pi over 3, times cosine of my second value, pi over 4, and then I add to that my sine values of each of those. So sine of pi over 3 times sine of pi over 4. And so if we go back to our unit circle, cosine of pi over 3 is 1/2, and cosine of pi over 4 is square root of 2 over 2. So cosine of pi over 3 is 1/2. Cosine of pi over 4 is square root of 2 over 2. And if I add my sine values to that, my sine of pi over 3 is square root of 3 over 2, and my sine of pi over 4 is square root of 2 over 2. So square root of 3 over 2 times square root of 2 over 2. And if you multiply those across, 1 times the square root of 2 is square root of 2. 2 times 2 is 4. So do the same thing over here. Square root of 3 times square root of 2 gives me 6. And 2 times 2 gives me 4. And if I squish those fractions together, I get square root of 2 plus 6, all divided by 4. Okay, you can do the same thing if you're looking at something in degree mode. If I'm looking for cosine of 75 degrees. I know that 75 is 30 plus 45. So I'm going to look for cosine of 30 degrees plus 45. degrees. So using the sum formula of cosine. So the sum formula of cosine tells me that we take cosine of 30 times cosine of 45 minus sine of 30 times sine of 45. In order to do it, if I go back to my unit circle and I look for 30 degrees, at 30 degrees, my cosine value is square root of 3 over 2. And at 45 degrees, my cosine value is square root of 2 over 2. Then I'm subtracting my sine value, and my sine value at 30 degrees is 1/2. And my sine value at 45 degrees is square root of 2 over 2. So minus 1/2 times square root of 2 over 2. So simplifying that, I multiply straight across. Square root of 3 times square root of 2 is 6. 2 times 2 is 4. 1 times square root of 2 is square root of 2. 2 times 2 is 4. And if I squish that fraction together and make it into one fraction with a denominator of 4, I end up with 6 minus square root of 2 all over 4. Okay, to do the same thing for my sine formula, sine of 75 degrees is the same thing as sine of 30 plus 45. And so my sum formula for sine tells me I take the sine of my first term, which is 30, times the cosine of my second term, which is 45, plus the cosine of my first term, which is 30, times the sine of my second term, which is 45. So if I go back to my unit circle, sine of 30 is 1/2. Cosine of 45 is square root of 2 over 2. Cosine of 30 is square root of 3 over 2. And sine of 45 is square root of 2 over 2. That all comes to your unit circle. Then I multiply straight across. 1 times square root of 2 is square root of 2. 2 times 2 is 4. Square root of 3 times square root of 2 is 6. 2 times 2 is 4. If I switch these into one fraction, then I end up with square root of 2 plus 6 all over 4. Right, the only other formula we hadn't looked at yet was our tangent formula. So if I'm looking for tangent of 75 degrees, then I know that I'm looking for tangent of 30 plus 45. And my addition formula for tangent tells me I took tangent of my first term plus tangent of my second term. And then I divide that by 1 minus tangent of my first times tangent of my second. So this one will look a little bit differently. The first thing I need to do is I need to find tangent of 30 degrees. Alright, and tangent of 30 from your unit circle is 1 over square root of 3 plus tangent of 45 from your unit circle is 1, all divided by 1 minus tangent of 30, which is 1 over square root of 3, times tangent of 45, which is 1. Well, 1 over square root of 3 plus 1 is just 1, and 1 over square root of 3. And then 1 minus 1 over square root of 3 times 1 is 1 over square root of 3. Okay, so I need to get common denominators in order to subtract these. So this is like 1 over 1, so I'm going to multiply by the square root of 3 to both sides. If I do that, then I end up with the square root of 3 over the square root of 3 minus 1 over the square root of 3, which simplifies down to be the square root of 3 minus 1 all over the square root of 3. So then this becomes my new denominator. So I end up with a fraction of 1 and 1 over square root of 3 divided by square root of 3 minus 1 over square root of 3. Not a very simple answer, but that is how you should leave it. Okay, so you're going to work on this assignment today and tomorrow with your sub. You're working on page 402, 7 through 28. So as I said, we're working on this today and tomorrow. I'm hoping to have your quizzes graded by the end of today, so you should know how you did on them tomorrow.